Hello everyone, this is in my opinion the top 5 best ways to make gil. Now, I'm gonna pretend I don't have any submarines and this is the only way I would be making gil until the next expansion. So let's take that out of the equation, the fact that I'm making 1.7 billion a month from submarines. For those of you who are watching my streams are already aware of that. But let's take that out. We pretend submarines doesn't exist so that the general public can have some other easier way to make gil than grinding for 2 years to build a submarine fleet, basically. So number 5 would be leaf quests. Now, this depends on how many alts do you have. If you have, let's say, 10 alts that have reached the Shadowbringer leaf quests, this would be like number 2 or number 1 best way to make gil. But I'm gonna pretend you only have one character, so that's why I'm gonna put it at number 5 best way to make gil. And that is the Alchemist level 78 leaf quest that is called Labor of Love. And you have to hand in Tinctures of Vitality. The Underground Spring Water is Miner Retainer, or mine it yourself. The Hydrozoan Umbrella is Battle Retainer. I don't recommend farming it yourself, it's really time consuming if you do it yourself. So Battle Retainer most definitely. Lime Basil, Botanist Retainer, or get it yourself. And the Aether Sands, Gatherer White Scripts. So just do your custom deliveries for a Gatherer when it's bonus, and that more than covers your sand needs. You just come here to the script exchange and Gatherer scripts level 80, and it only costs 10 scripts a sand, so that's your best bet. Alright, and for crafting it itself, that's why I recommend this over the Endwalker option. The Endwalker option gets you 1 million gil per 100 leaf quest, and it takes 17 real life days to get 100 leaf quests. And this one gives 950-ish k, so 50k less. But the beauty about this one is how fast you can actually craft them. It's just Trained Eye and 2 Groundworks. So that's why I will recommend this over the Endwalker one. If you're still interested to maximize the gains and want to do the Endwalker one, I covered it in my previous level 1 to 90 Gatherer and Crafter Beginner's Guide. I covered that step by step. Alright, so you just, as you can see, you can craft them so quickly and basically just hand them in. And if you have these 2 leaf quests have already accepted, the level 70. Sorry, this is level 76, not 78 that I'm doing. But if you... Oh, sorry, it is level 78. Okay, never mind. Okay, so it's Labor of Love. If you have already accepted these 2, there are 3 level 78 leaves for each class, basically. If you already accepted the other 2, now the only one remain on the list is the one you want. This makes the process easier on just clicking it and just handing it in like this, because it always gonna be on the top of the list. Now I'm playing on JP living in Europe, so the latency is quite high. Normally, if you have seen me hand these in on my live streams on EU, I do it so quickly, but because of the high ping here, can't do it as fast, but you can do it really, really fast if you have high ping, or if you have no ping, I mean. So that's number 5, best way to make it, or number 2 if you have at least 10 alts that can do it. That would be 10 million gil every 17 days for not much work at all, if you had 10 characters that can do it. Okay, number 4 best way to make gil would be the Magitech repair materials. I would put it in number 3, but some people complain that they can't get the materials conveniently enough to make it good. But if you take a look at the sale history, I mean, look at that. This was just today afternoon, just 6 hours ago. And the whole page of the sale history is just 6 hours ago at 2K. Let's say if you have many retainers, this would be number 2 even. Best way to make yield. But if you don't have many retainers and you have to get a lot of the materials yourself, then I guess that's why I'm gonna put it here in number 4. The Magitech repair materials. I made a whole video covering the details, how to make these as quickly as possible. So I'm gonna link that in the video description. So I'm not gonna go too much in detail how I go about making these. Number 3 best way to make yield. Now this even works for low level people. That's why I'm gonna put it, and that's another reason I'm gonna put it in number 3. And that is all materials that have to do with building submarines. So mithrite ore. I made a whole separate video as well covering all of these. I'm not gonna go into as much detail, but I'm just gonna show a few examples. Platinum ore, cobalt ore, electrum ore, all of these that I have listed here, all related to submarines. All of them are really good. Well, I would say 90% of all of these are really good. And look, and if you check the sell history, they are really active. If your lower level mithril ore is good. Basilisk West Stone is these. I actually bought this just a couple days ago to make my Larimars. Mithrite ingot. This is huge. This is very, very huge. Most of the useful submarine components needs millions of these. So as long as you sell it lower than the NPC, it's if you check every material, it says shop selling price on it. If it has a number on the shop selling price, that means there exists an NPC that sell it at that price. So as long as you sell it under that price, because I guess most people doesn't know, so you can sell it above. Just the sell history alone, look at that as example of people being ignorant or people not caring. They could have just bought it at the NPC for 2,600, but they just bought it on the market board instead. Now this also needs kinda to have decent amount of miner retainers to make this viable, but still. And another big thing that comes into the number 3 best way to make guild category is selling your Grand Company seals and converting your Grand Company seals into guild. By selling coke, you made millions and millions of coke to build submarines. This is another very good one, and I highly recommend you don't ever desynth any gear you get from dungeons and make it all into Grand Company seals and then into coke. Well, number 1 priority is ventures. Always convert them into ventures if you are running out. But if you are good on ventures, then it's always coke. Coke sells really good, as you can see from the sell history. That is just today. 8 hours ago for the whole page. In the span of 8 hours ago. So yeah, Grand Company seals fall into this category. That's why I put the whole submarine related stuff into number 3. I guess you could say Magitech repair is also could be related to submarines, but I think it's worth it to have its own. Anyway, I covered way more stuff related to submarines, and even your gardening that you can do, I'll cover that in the video description. I made a separate video of how low level players can make really good gear by selling submarine materials. So that will be there. And number 2 best way to make gear is expert recipes. That's right. Now as you can see, there are days apart from each of the sales in my sale history for these. Yes, they don't sell often, but when they do sell, it's millions actually. I actually didn't think they would be this relevant this far into the patch, but they're still selling. And I think they will continue to sell in the foreseeable future. It's just not gonna be a frequent sell. Otherwise, I would have put this into number 1. But the fact is, as more people even get their island the way they want, these will die out even more. Another thing you can do with these is, if you have alts on a different server, you can use your main to craft extra ones of these and have it listed in multiple server too. Basically, you're casting a bigger fish net into the water and have more chances for sales. I actually have a couple of my alts really full of these in their sell history as well, that they are on different servers. So I highly recommend checking my expert recipe guides out and learning expert crafts, and the good thing about it is you just spend maybe 1 day craft a bunch of them, and you know that it's gonna take like 10 days for them to all of them to sell, and in 10 days you have few easy millions in your bank just laying there, you know. Obviously you have to kinda keep up with the undercutting as well, but it's not as much competition as the battle gear, selling the battle gear, so it's not, at least in my experience, it's not as much undercutting needed as the battle gear. So I do really love doing expert recipes, and the fact that they can still make decent deal here is really, it's really good. I would have loved if the battle gear was expert recipe. Now that would have been guild making opportunity. Even if it was the easier version of expert recipes, I would have loved it. It's still better than fucking pressing just one copy pastaing a macro and just pressing 1 or 2 buttons per craft. It's just annoying and easy and annoying and dumb. Now you can see dumb people undercutting, because I did sell a couple of these the other day at 1.5, but I guess just because it's not selling often, they keep undercutting. So I think, in my opinion, this will be number 2. And I'm gonna keep doing this till the next expansion. Keep making these as they sell. And ladies and gentlemen, number 1 best way to make gil is something unique. It's not gonna make you gil right now today. It's gonna be an investment that will make you gil when the new expansion launches. And there's a few things that you can do for that. One of the things is grade 7 crafter and gatherer materia. Now you may be thinking, oh, you know, we're not getting any more crafter gear this expansion. Why would I need to get grade 7 materia? Grade 7 and grade 9 to be specific. Don't do grade 10 at all. Don't bother. Sell all your grade 10 now, don't hold on into them. The ones that will be valuable will be 9 and 7, because those are gonna be used for overmelding the last couple slots in the next expansion's gear. So these will be huge valuable again. So the more you farm them before the next expansion, the more gil you're gonna make later. So it's basically a time investment into later. My favorite thing to do to farm white crafter scripts to get those materia is this. Let's go to the collectible. The rarefied syrup. You basically hit trained eye and then groundworks and you're done. And you just hand it in, let's see how much it was. So just like the Leaf Quest one, it's really fast to craft. That's why I recommend it over the Endwalker one. So you can just craft that really quickly and just get, how many is that? No, that's drought. 80, no, sorry, 99 actually. Damn, that is so damn good. 99 white crafter scripts just for 3 clicks. Just like that. And you can spam it all day and get tons of grade 7 and 9 materia. When you get the materia, I was handing in the wrong side. But anyway, you get the point. I recommend prioritizing crafter materia. Prioritize command 9 and CP 9. Obviously get some craftsmanship. I would say let's put it in the ratio. Let's say focus on 40% command, 40% cunning, and 20% craftsmanship. That's what you should do. So that's my recommended thing to hand in for scripts. Underground spring water, same thing as the leaf, miner, or gather it yourself. Kubus flesh, battle retainer, absolutely battle retainer. Light Gerbera is botanist, and Kudzurud is also botanist. So all of these things, the more retainers you have, I suppose, is better, but you can still do it with only 2 retainers. It's just gonna take you longer, I guess. It's still worth doing it if you wanna make a long-term investment in your, basically your time converted into gil. For gatherer scripts, if you are doing the expert recipes that I was showing in number 2, best way to make gil, in the process of getting all the materials for the crafts, especially the glioethers, I have covered videos on how to get these glioethers. You're gonna spirit bond your gear a lot in the process. So the gatherer materia farming will come just naturally, really. You don't have to really think about it that much. It's just the crafter one that you have to go out of your way to farm if you wanna do that. But yeah, if submarines didn't exist, these would be the things I would be focusing on to make gil. Well, I'm already doing number 1 and 2 myself. As you can see, I have so much materials ready to spam this and farm materia myself. So even though I'm doing recipes, submarines, I'm still doing these recipes as well. So I don't put all eggs in one basket, basically. So I really hope you found this helpful. If you did, please leave the video a like. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. And I'll see you in the next guide. Take care. Bye bye.